Andrei Dobryansky joining me once again with the perspective from the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America. Andrei, you had so many important insights that we wanted to welcome you back. What do you think? How are President Biden and the U.S. handling all of this? Could they be doing more? Should they be doing more?
I think you just mentioned the popularity polls, and I think what we should keep in mind with that is the fact that the Biden administration is in office for a year, but frankly, where we are right now, they started themselves off by being in a hole. So these fantastic sanctions that were just announced yesterday, frankly, should have been put in place a while ago. And instead of what is happening today, the Biden administration actually waived sanctions this past summer in concert with Germany. So anybody who's actually paying attention to what's happening in Ukraine, our Polish American community, any one of the Baltic American communities, these people have been screaming for something to be done for a while. And when they saw that the president announced a waiver of the sanctions over 6 months ago, that's probably a hole that he dug himself into, that now he'll have to dig himself out by doing proactive measures like we saw yesterday. So, but I just want to give that perspective in terms of why people may be upset overall.
Well, I think there are a lot of people, and I'm just putting the mic for these folks who don't have a chance to speak on live television. Why aren't we putting more resources toward Americans' interests? I think there are a lot of people thinking we have no business stepping into this conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there is that perspective in the United States. It's not something that should be completely ignored, because obviously we should be spending our resources on our American citizens. However, what we should also try to do as a country is not try to let things spiral out of control in another country, wherein, for instance, the reasonable estimates for the full-scale war attack on Ukraine is 3 to 5 million refugees. It could be up to 6 to 10, but let's say it's 3 to 5 million refugees. Which country, who is in charge of housing, feeding, making sure that these people get basic supplies? Where does that come from? There's no big pot somewhere that's going to automatically build houses for these people. Once that happens, there's a spiral effect also of other countries saying, oh, you know what? The basic premise of the UN Charter doesn't exist anymore. Why doesn't Serbia invade the territories that it feels they need to protect, like Bosnia, Herzegovina, maybe Kosovo? There are places around the world that have contentious borders. They might spiral out of control. And then the last thing is also the fact that whatever this supply chain issue we're in the middle of, if that gets disturbed further by an invasion, then everybody in lots of countries will start rioting against their government. So the more we're actively engaged in trying to not make sure a big land war happens, the better it is for Americans down the road.
Now let's talk about we have some viewer questions we actually want to get to. Clay in Texas asking, what should we expect in the next 2 weeks? What are your predictions, Andrei?
It's really day by day. The messaging I'm getting from members of the Ukrainian government and Ukrainian civil society is that any moment, the next 24 hours are the most important 24 hours. The way all the troops are deployed, it's very reasonable to see a massive push through all the borders within the next 24 to 36 hours. So that's why everybody who watches this is on tenterhooks, in the middle of the night, trying to keep updating ourselves about what's happening over there. So it's very likely possible, if you're asking what can happen, then that the worst images you can imagine, which is a major land war in Ukraine, can break out at any minute.
We have another question from Don in Fort Wayne, Indiana, saying, I'm scared this is going to turn into a nuclear war. What are the chances of that?
It's pretty far away from what the spiraling out of control could happen. Both countries, the United States and Russia, with the most nuclear weapons, are pretty adamant about not using them. They haven't threatened them against each other. What is more likely is what I mentioned earlier, is that this conflict would spiral out of control because another country might decide to invade another country due to the precedent that Russia is setting, and also the major food shortages that can happen from both Ukraine and Russia. Both are major supply countries of grain throughout the world. If something were to happen with that, I can't imagine what would happen, especially to countries around the equator, which don't have that natural grain making capacity for themselves. That leads to riots. That leads to governments destabilizing. And that's what's World War III. It's not, don't focus on the big weapons. Focus on governments destabilizing.
And focus on the potential of famine. Andre, thank you so much for all of your insights and for being on the pulse of what is going on in Ukraine. I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.